Hello everyone. I'm Dr. Vidhi Khanduja from Computer Science Department, Hansraj College, University of Delhi. This session is in continuation to my previous session, Development of Program Logic. So let's quickly recap and see what all things we have learned in the previous session. Right? So we have seen that program, how to create a program. Right? So it's not a quick creation. We need to follow certain steps for that. Right? So what all steps we need? We need to understand the problem, we need to analyze the problem, and then develop the solution for that. And then comes the coding part. Okay? So how to develop that logic so that I can easily write the code for a program, right? So we were discussing on those terms. So the best tool is to draw the flowchart first, right? And then we will move on to the coding part. So in the last session, we have seen how to draw the flowcharts, what are the various symbols involved in the flowchart, how to use them. We have seen certain flowcharts also to solve the problem. And then we looked upon some new terms related to a programming language, like variables, what are variables, how to use them, how to assign the values to them, what are operators, what are operands, right? Then we looked upon the arithmetic operators, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, these are my arithmetic operators. Then later on in the last flowchart when we discussed about the conditional box, that is your decision box. And then in relation to that, we discuss about the relational operator in that, less than, greater than, equal to, all these stuffs, right? So let's continue our discussion on this. Okay, so these were certain practice questions I have given to you. I hope you all have practiced them and they are very simple. We discussed also how to do them, right? So I will be just showing the last one, that was to draw a flowchart to find the percentage of the marks obtained by a student in 3 different subjects, right? So let's see how to draw the flowchart of that, right? So what things we need to take here? We need these 3 variables first, the marks scored by the student in subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, and then I need a variable to store the total of these marks and then the percentage, right? So what variables I am considering here? I am taking the 4 variables. I am asking these values from the users. So this total variable is the total marks, right, in one subject, let's say. Or what we can do, we can consider it as a total marks in all the 3 subjects. It's up to you how you make the logic for that, right? So let us assume here this total marks represents the marks of the total marks in these 3 subjects, total marks, and what student has obtained individually, I am storing in this marks underscore S1. So the name of the variable I have taken is as marks underscore S1. Right? So when we are writing a particular name, when we are giving a name to a variable, we have to specify certain things, like the name should represent what the value that particular variable is holding, right? So I can write with respect to subject 1, the marks I am storing here, right? So the rule says the first I must start with a letter. It should be an alphabet first. And then I can write the digits also in that. No problem. Okay. Underscore is also permissible. Space I cannot include. Right? Just like we give, whenever we are saving any file, how we write the name, how we give the name of a file. Right? The same convention we need to follow here. Right? Starting with your alphabet, then you can write down 1, 2, 3 in case you want. Underscore is permissible. Space is not allowed. Right? And the name should represent, okay, what value it is storing. Right? So I can write here subject 1 underscore marks. That is also a valid name. Right? So these 3 variables I am taking. Right? I am asking the user to enter their values. Okay, what marks you have obtained in subject 1? Let's say in mathematics. What marks you have obtained in subject 2? Let's say in English. Okay? What marks you have obtained in subject 3, right? And then the total, let's say I have obtained, the student will say, okay, I have obtained 60 out of 100, right? So all these 20 out of 100. 80 out of 100. So the total marks come out to be 300. Right? It can be out of 100, it can be out of 70, we are not sure. So we are asking the user to enter this total marks. Total of all the three. Again, it is up to you how you develop the logic. I can ask the user to enter the total of any one subject or three subjects, right? So I'm asking, in this particular case, let's take it the simpler way. This is the total marks of these three. So 300 will be the value the user is going to enter, and individually the marks code will be entered by user. And then we are taking these three variables, storing their value. Next step, very simple. You need to calculate the percentage, right? How to calculate that? I am taking the sum of the three subjects marks, right? Divided by the total marks, 300, right? And then multiplying it by 100 to make it a percentage. Fine. And then you can display this percentage. For storing the percentage, one more variable we need, I am calling it as PER, percentage, the short form of percent. Any value, you can write down the complete percentage also here. Okay? So, we need these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables here to write this complete job. Okay? Let's see how the flowchart turns out to be. We are taking the input, so it has to be a input-output box, parallelogram. Right, these 4 variable values, we are asking from the user to enter that, right? Next step, I am performing some processing, some calculation that has to be done in a processing box, right? This is a simple formula I have written here, and then the result is to be displayed. Print whatever variable you have taken for percentage, that value need to be printed. And it's a flowchart, so I need to start it with the start symbol, end it with a stop symbol. Simple and easy, right? So let's see another example. I'm just adding one more step to this particular question only. What I'm saying, I have calculated the percentage. Now I am assigning the grade to a student, depending upon how much percentage a particular student has obtained, right? So these are certain conditions given to me. Let's say if the percentage is greater than or equal to 90, you assign the grade as A. If the percentage is greater than or equal to 75 and less than 90, that is between these two values, right, then the grade will be B. If the student has obtained the percentage greater than or equal to 60 and less than 75, the grade assigned will be C. Otherwise, that means less than 60, I am considering it as grade F. Right? So deliberately I have written this like if-else statement, right? So that these words will get clear to you, right? अगर इतना % है तो ग्रेड ये दे दो, अगर इतने % के इसमें बीच में मार्क्स है तो ग्रेड ये है, इनमें से कोई भी नहीं है तो ग्रेड will be F. That is your else part. So if, else, words are clear to you now. Just I am imposing a condition after if, right? And then I am writing, okay, the grade is this. Right? So we have these conditions now. Right? So variable will be the same. One more variable will be added now, that is the grade, because I need to assign the grade to the percentage. As per the percentage obtained, I will be assigning the grade. So I have taken one more variable here. Right? So let's see how the flowchart turns out to be. We have multiple if statements now, right? So earlier examples we have seen only one single if clause was there, right? So let's quickly try to understand the concept behind this. This is the same step. You are taking the value from the user, percentage, calculated. Now what I have to do? I have to check this first condition. If percentage is greater than or equal to 90, right? So I am writing in this decision box, right? What value I am writing? The condition greater than or equal to. These are my relational operators, right? So if this is greater than or equal to 90, true, then what we have to do? We have to assign grade A, right? Otherwise, what will be the condition? Just look here now. Else, now I have just reframed these if-else condition, right? So if percentage is greater than equal to 90, the grade assigned will be A. Else, why I am going to else part now? Because I know if the percentage is less than 90, then okay, it can be B, C or F grade, right? So all other conditions will be the else part. Okay. Similar, this is my else part. If this is not true, then the false means all these conditions will be else, right? That means percentage less than 90. So if the percentage is less than 90, it will move to this direction. I'm sorry. Right? So what we can do now? We have moved in this direction. Okay. Next step, next condition we need to check. Another decision box I need to draw. What it says, if percentage is greater than equal to 75. Obviously, we are in this side. That means the percentage is less than 90 and greater than 70. Okay, greater than 75. So, I am into this portion now. Yes, this is greater than equal to 75. So, what will happen? Assign the grade B. Done? So, we have done with this true part, we have done with this part. What if the grade is still, the percentage is still less than 75? Okay. So, what will happen? I have to move towards this side. This condition is false. So, what my logic says? If it is less, then I have to check for 60. Right? If percentage is between 60 and 75, you assign the grade C to it. Okay. So, next condition. Now, again I have added one more decision box. So, in a flow chart, I can have n number of decision box as per my requirement. But you have to be very careful with the true and false condition. Right? What you need to write there. So, all these parts, again I am repeating, is a condition when your percentage is less than 90. Okay. Now, this particular portion will be when your percentage is less than 75. Okay. So, I am moving to this part. Yes. Now, we say, okay, we are checking the condition. If the percentage is between 60 and 75, right. So, I am checking the condition greater than equal to 60 with this in correspondence to what is given to me, right. So, yes, it is. So, the grade assigned will be C. What if the percentage is less than 60? Then again I have to move to this part. This is false. So, it says you assign the grade F. Right? And all these, after assigning the grade, they are moving on to this particular part. Okay, the job is done. You display the result. Print grade, because grade is a variable. I am storing the final grade into it. Right? So, I am displaying this grade and stop. Right? So, what we have observed here? We have placed multiple conditional box or multiple if-else statements. Okay? So, depending upon my question, the conditions given to me, I will be imposing these decision boxes. Okay? I hope this is clear to you. Okay. So, let us look into another important concept, that is of looping. Right? So, in a program, I can have a simple question, simple problems also, where we need to follow a sequence. Right? In a program, I can have certain conditional also problems, like we have seen, if this, then do this, if this, then do this. Right? So, we need to have that condition box. Sometimes what happens in a problem, we need to repeat certain statements, certain instructions again and again, right? So, in that we apply the concept of looping. Looping means certain instructions I have written, certain statements I have written, and I want them to be done, to be repeated again and again, right? Let's see how this is done. So what we are doing in this, we are just calculating a factorial of a number. How to calculate that? Let's see. This is 5 factorial simple example. How I do that? I keep on multiplying it. 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Right? So I have written it like 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 4 and then 5. This is how we calculate 5 factorial. Right? So how this is done? At first step, we are multiplying these two values, right? And then we are writing it here. So this comes out to be 2, okay? And then rest all I am writing as it is, 3, 4, 5. So in the next step, I am taking the multiplication of these two, 2 into 3, right? And in the next, these two will be written as it is. So next will be 6 into 4 comes out to be 24 and 5 as it is I have written. Okay, and the last step you are multiplying this two. Done. Right? Let's write it in a generic form. For any number, let's say the number is n, I need to calculate the factorial of that. Right? So I am taking one variable to store that value. The name I have given is fact. Okay, any name you can write. So just see this. For 5 factorial, 1 to 5, I am taking all the numbers and multiplying them. Okay, so my fact will be 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 till n. I need to calculate the factorial of n. Right? Now, what I have done, I have initialized it with a value 1. Okay. Now what I am doing? I am multiplying this with 2. Okay. So one multiplication at a time. Just see here. What we have done? We have taken the product of this. Right? That comes out to be 2. And then we are multiplying it with the next term. Next step, the product of these multiplied with the next term. Right? So in every step what we are doing, we are taking the product what we have calculated in the previous step and then multiplying it with the next number. Right? We are taking this. This is what we have in the previous step and multiplying it with the next number to get the product. Right? So I can write this statement. Just see this statement. Is it clear to you? Fact is what I have calculated in the previous step also. So I am taking that value, multiplying it with the next number, right? Storing back in the same variable. So at every step, what is happening? The fact is going to change its value. Right? So earlier it was 1. Then it will be fact is equal to fact into 2. So now 1 into 2, it becomes 2. Now the fact is having a value 2. Next step, the fact will be 2 multiplied by 3. So it is getting a value 6. And so on, you keep on multiplying with the next term. And the last time, I have to multiply it with number n. Right? This is a basic logic how we can write a program or draw a flowchart first to find out a factorial of a number. Right? This statement is important. We initialize the value of fact by 1. Then you are multiplying it with first 1, 2, 3, 4 till n. So this statement I need to repeat again and again while changing the value of n. Right? So fact is equal to fact into 1, fact is equal to fact into 2, fact is equal to fact into 3, fact is equal to fact into 4 and so on till n is attained. So this statement is to be repeated n number of times, right? So what I will do, I will try to apply the loop concept in this, right? Let's see, this is a more organized form now, how to write down the concept. Initialize it with fact is equal to 1, right? Next step, I have taken one counter. I told you what we need to do. We need to repeat this line n number of times, right? While changing this value of n at every iteration. Okay, so what we are doing? We are initializing this counter as 1. So one counter means one variable I have taken that will keep track of how many times I have performed a multiplication, right? So the condition I have imposed is till this counter is less than equal to n. That's what we are doing here. Fact into 1 into 2 into 3, 4, 5 till n, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, n are all less than equal to n, right? So counter is going to take all these values, okay? So first we have initialized it to 1, then we have imposed this condition, right? Now what we are doing, we are performing the same step, fact is equal to fact into n. Okay, and then we are changing the value of counter here. So what will happen now? At first iteration, counter is going to be 1, right? Now this has to be counter. Okay, just change this to counter here. Okay, counter is having one value, fact is having one value. Okay, we started with step 1, step 2. Now you check the step 3, counter is less than equal to n, and let's say we are trying to calculate for 5 factorial, right? So n is going to be 5. Okay, let me write it again clearly. It is 5. Okay, so n is 5. Particular example we are taking. Counter is 1, fact is 1. Now how to proceed? I am checking the condition. If counter is less than n, yes, it is true. So it will move on to step 4. Step 4 says fact is equal to fact into counter. So the value of fact will be now, earlier it was 1, now it will be changed to 1 multiplied by 1. So it will be 1 only, right? And then what we are doing, we are incrementing the value of counter by 1. So earlier the value of counter was 1, plus 1 will make it 2 now. Okay, so the counter will take the value 2. Now you see, this step go to step 3. So it will go to this step, right? It will check the condition. Okay, counter is 2, less than 5, true. So it will enter this statement, right? Now it is again going to calculate the fact. So fact will be 1 multiplied by 2, that is 2. Okay, and then we are incrementing the value of counter. So we will get the value of counter as 3. Go to step 3, again you will check the condition, right? So what we are doing, we are following these 2 steps 4 and 5 again and again till the condition is satisfied. Okay, till the condition is satisfied. So what we have done here, go to step 3, again we are going to calculate the fact. The fact is going to be 3 into 2, that is 6 this time. Increment the value of counter, the counter will become 4 now, right? Go to step 3, check the value of counter, 4. 4 is less than 5, true. So again the fact will be calculated. So we will get 6 multiplied by 4, that is 24. Okay, and then the value of the counter will be incremented by 1. Earlier it was 4, now it is going to become 5. Go to step 3. Again you have to check 5 is less than, no, but it is equal to 5. Less than equal to means if less than is satisfied, it is true. If equal to is satisfied, then also it is true. Right? So 5 is equal to 5. Yes, so it will enter the condition. True part. What it says, you calculate the fact. So this has come out to be 24 into 5. Right? 120. Right? And then I am incrementing the value of counter. Now the counter becomes 6. Okay? Go to step 3. Counter is less than equal to n. 6 is less than equal to 5? No. So it will move on to this else part now. False wala jo condition aata hai. This is all inside the if block. If this is true, then you have to follow these steps. Otherwise, if this condition is false, you move on to the else part. What is there in the else part? You display the result. Print the value of fact. What value the fact is storing? 120. Right? So 120 will be displayed as a result. So this is how the concept of loop executes, right? So these two statements are executed again and again. What we have taken? We have taken one variable, counter, that will keep track of how many times, right, these instructions are being executed. Counter will take the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Okay? So this variable is important. Any name you can give to this variable to keep the track of number of times you want a particular operation to be repeated. Okay? So let's see how the flowchart turns out to be. This is a flowchart. First step, same, start, right? You take the value from the user, input n, right? Let's say your user need to calculate the factorial of n. Okay? Now what you have to do? You have to first initialize fact to 1, counter to 1. Okay? So these two instructions are these two instructions are important, right? So fact is equal to 1 and counter is equal to 1. Next I need to check this condition to enter the if else part, right? So counter is less than equal to n. N is what? We need to find out the factorial of, right? Let's say 5 factorial. So 5 times this statement need to be executed. Okay? So we need to check the condition of counter starting with 1 till 5. If it is true, it is less than n, what we have to do? We have to calculate the factorial, right? You calculate fact into the value of counter and then you increment the value of counter. Again you go to step 3, right? So go to this condition. This arrow indicates after this, go to this again. Check the condition. Okay? Check the condition whether the counter is still less than equal to n. Yes, you follow this. Again go to this, right? Follow this. Again go to this till this condition is true. Right? So once this condition becomes false, you just display the result and stop. The job is done. Okay? So this concept of repeating the things again and again, right? How many times? N number of times. This is the concept of loop. Okay? I hope this is clear to you. The important things to remember here is I need to initialize the counter first to some value. Initialization is one step in this. Okay? Second step is I need to check the condition. Okay? So test condition is important. Okay? And Another important thing is there have to be some mechanism to change the value of counter. What if I skip this step? Let us assume this step is not there. Then what will happen? Counter is less than equal to n. Initially, the counter is 1. 1 is less than 5, let's say. This will be executed. Directly you are moving to this. We are not changing the value of counter. So, this value is always be true. That means if this value is always going to be true, it will keep on executing this statement. This condition is known as infinite loop. So, we will enter an infinite loop which is never going to end. So, whenever you are writing any loop conditions, you have to be very careful. 1, 2 and this third part is very important, right? So, either you have to increment the counter or you have to decrement the counter. Okay, you have to change this value so that at some time, this condition should become false. Okay, clear? So, 1, 2 and 3. So, you are updating the value of counter. Okay, I am writing it, changing the value of counter. Simple. You have to remember these 3 conditions. कि मैंने इंक्रीमेंट किया, मैंने इनिशियलाइज किया कि नहीं किया काउंटर को, मैंने टेस्ट कंडीशन डाली कि नहीं डाली, और फिर when this test condition is going to become false, ऐसा कुछ mechanism add किया है, am I changing this value, right? I hope this is clear to you, right? So we can move ahead. This is a simple concept of loop. Okay, so what we have observed till now, we have seen multiple if conditions and a looping concept, right? Let's take one more example. I need to draw the flowchart to print the even numbers between 1 to 50. Simple hai? A number, first I need to find out a number is even or odd. That too, what numbers I need to check? Between 1 to 50. So when I will start with number 1, I will check it is even or odd. If it is even, it will be displayed. Otherwise, I will not be displaying it. I will move on to the next number. Number 2, okay, this is even. 2 will be displayed. 3, odd. 4, even, it will be displayed. So how to check a number is even or odd? I am simply dividing by 2 and checking it, right? If it is divisible by 2, good enough, that number is even. Now I have used the term divisible by 2. How to check that? We have a mod operator, right? So we have a mod operator here, or directly if you are writing algorithm or a flowchart, you can use a word modulus. Okay. So I have deliberately used this operator to make you aware of the programming languages, right? So I am using this % sign. % sign stands for your mod operator. What the role of this mod operator? It always gives you the remainder after integer division. When I am dividing it to integers, what remainder I am getting, not the quotient. Okay. So in this problem, I am concerned about the remainder, right? If I am dividing it by 2, any number, what I am getting? If the remainder is 0, that means the number is completely divisible by 2. Okay. So I am checking the remainder here. So this is a new operator. You have to remember it is known as the mod or a modulus operator. Sign is the % symbol. Okay. This is with respect to your Python programming, right? So I am just in between this session, I am just making you aware of certain new terms, certain new operators related to your programming concepts also. Okay. So what I need to check? I need to check the number. You divide it by 2, check for the remainder. Okay. Now here I have used double equal to. Earlier we were assigning some values, so I was using this operator equal to, right? What do you mean by this double equal to? These two are different. Okay, so this is when I am assigning a value. I told you in the previous session also, if I am writing like this, num1 equal to 5. So 5 will be assigned to num1. Whatever value I am writing to the right hand side of equal to will be assigned to this particular variable. Right? This is equal to. We call it an assignment operator. Okay? Here, this is double equal to. We are checking whether this value is equal to 0 or not. भाई 0 के इक्वल है कि नहीं, मैं वैल्यू 0 असाइन नहीं कर रही, राइट? इसका जो रिजल्ट आएगा, आई एम जस्ट चेकिंग कि वो 0 के इक्वल है. ठीक है, सो दिस इज डबल इक्वल टू, रिलेशनल ऑपरेटर है ये. इट विल ऑलवेज गिव यू ट्रू और फॉल्स, राइट? इफ दिस इज इक्वल टू 0, true condition, it will enter inside this condition, right? It will display the number is even. Else, if this condition is false, display the number is odd. Simple. So what we have seen? We have seen the use of the mod operator, the use of this double equal to. So there is a difference between the assignment and this relational operator. Okay? So this will give me the result in Boolean. This condition is equal to 0 or not. Okay? So be careful when you are using the condition, right? So with the if, whatever condition I am giving, I always use a relational operator, because that relational operator is going to give me the value either true or false. Right? So I need the result if this condition is true or false, whatever value I am getting, 0 or 1 correspondingly. Okay, so this is one logic to find whether a number is even or odd, right? Now, another important thing to note is the numbers has to be between 1 to 50. So for all these numbers, for number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 till 50, I need to check this condition again and again, right? The number will get changed, the concept will remain same, right? So what I have to do? I have to apply the looping concept here, right? How many times the loop is going to be executed? 50 times. How to initialize it? Number 1, I need to initialize it with a value, let's say 1 first. How many times? 50. And then there has to be some mechanism to change this counter. That I have done. So 1, 2, 3. All the 3 conditions has to be there. Then I am good to go with a looping concept. Okay? So num1, check the condition till num is less than equal to 50. What you have to do? You have to print. This is just I am printing the number. Okay? Then I will be imposing this logic into this part. Okay? This logic is simply to print the numbers between 1 to 50. Okay? My task is to print the even numbers. So I have break down this problem into 2 components. First, we have seen if a number is given to me, I can find out it's even or odd. This is, I have kept it separately. Another problem is 1 to 50 numbers, I need them. Okay? So then later on, I will be incorporating this concept into this one. Okay? So this is a concept of looping. I need to execute the same statement 50 number of times in this case. Okay? Num1 less than equal to 50, num is equal to num plus 1. Or in between you can write what statement need to be repeated. Same way as we have done for the factorial. Go to step 2. Again check the condition, perform the task, increment the counter, again go to the step 2. Once this is done, stop. Okay, so let's see the flowchart now. Start. Counter I have taken here as I. Any value you can take. We have seen we have taken the value as a counter, variable as a counter, num or I, right? So if I is greater than equal to 50, I is 1. So it is going to be false, right? So what you have to do? You have to check for the number is even or odd, right? Now I have merged those two concepts together, right? I mod 2. If the remainder is 0, yes, the number is even, so I need to print that value. If the number is odd, what you have to do, you simply move on to the next number and check for that. So I have incremented the value of counter, and then this arrow is again going to this condition. Okay? You have incremented, let it be you started with 1, check किया 1 के लिए 1 false आया, increment किया 2 हो गई, 1 2 I की value 2 हो गई, 2 के लिए check किया, condition is false, again you check for this, remainder is true, so 2 will get printed. After that, this is again going to this increment value. Just see the arrow, I'm sorry. This value is going to be again after this. So you are printing a value for 2, then you are incrementing the value of I. So I will become 3. You go and check there. The value of I, okay, 3. Again, the condition is false. So you are taking this. So what changes I have done here? The condition true and false are being changed. I less than equal to 50 मैं लिख रही हूँ, तो मैं true part में लिखूँगी. Concept of odd and even. If I am writing I greater than equal to 50, I will be going to write in a false part. Right? So depending upon what condition I am imposing here, you can write either of the way. It's totally up to you. Right? Be careful, condition कब false हो रही है, कब true हो रही है, counter initialize किया है कि नहीं किया, and then you are changing the value of a counter or not. Good to go. Right? I hope this concept is clear to you. Okay, so these are certain practice questions which I want you to just practice, write on the sheet of paper, think how to do them, right? These are related to what we have discussed so far. Okay, so the first one, simple, you need to find out the cube of a number. How to find that? Simple. If I have taken one number, let's say num, so num multiplied by num multiplied by num, done. Right? Now, next one, to determine a student pass the exam or not, right? What is given to me? There are 4 subjects, right? And I need to calculate the average. And if average is 50 or more, I will say, okay, the student has passed, otherwise he's failed. Simple if-else condition, right? Next question, the sum of first 50 natural numbers. This is the same as we have discussed the previous example, right? You have to apply the concept of loop. How many times the loop is going to be executed? 50 times from 1 to 50. Simple. And the last concept is to print the Fibonacci series up to n terms. What is Fibonacci series? Fibonacci series is series which start with the number term 0 first, second term is 1, these two terms are fixed, right? And how to calculate the third term? The third term is the sum of the previous 2 terms. So I will get 1 here. Next term will be the sum of previous 2 terms. So I will be getting 2 here. Next term will be the sum of previous 2 terms. I will get 3 and so on. This is how I will be calculating. So what step I need to repeat? The third term is equal to the second term and the first term. You are performing the addition of the previous 2 terms, that is going to be the third term. And this step need to be repeated how many times? Up to n terms. So you can take the value of n from the user. How many terms you want to print, right? So that will be your n, and then you will performing this operation. Okay? I hope this is clear to you. So next time we will start with the Python programming, right? And then I will be mapping these flowcharts which we have discussed with a Python program, right? So with this, we end our session here. Wishing you all a very happy programming. Thank you.